There's this one thing about traveling that you learn really fast once you get to a certain point in your journey, and it's that every country, every place, every city, every village is going to shock you in some way. There's always going to be some culture, some tradition, some belief that is so foreign to us that the second that we hear about it or we experience it, it just blows our minds. So in today's video, I want to take you along a journey of one of my personal experiences of cultural shock when I moved to the Philippines. I never thought that one day I would end up calling the Philippines my home. For me, it all began a few years ago when I decided to take a leap of faith and dive into the world of online work. Suddenly, I found myself with the freedom to work from anywhere in the world. Now let me tell you, I had always been drawn to the idea of exploring Southeast Asia, but there was something special about the Philippines. Maybe it was the warm smiles I had seen in photos. Maybe it was the vibrant festivals or the lush green mountains and beautiful blue waters. Whatever it was, I knew I wanted to experience it for myself. So I took a chance and decided to move to Manila. And when I first arrived, I thought the shock would fade after a few weeks. I thought maybe it was just the novelty of being in a new country, the honeymoon phase of travel, or the excitement of escaping the grind I left behind. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and the surprises only deepened. The more time I spent here, the more I realized the Philippines was not just another travel destination. It was an experience that kept unfolding, layer after layer, each more meaningful than the last. One of the biggest shocks came from the way Filipinos celebrate life. In the West, birthdays, weddings, and holidays are often private affairs. But here, celebrations spill out into the streets. Christmas, for example, isn't just a season. It's practically half the year. They call it the bear months: September, October, November, December. And as soon as September begins, Christmas songs start playing in malls and on the radio. I had never experienced anything like it. Imagine walking into a grocery store in September and hearing Silent Night playing while decorations sparkle in every corner. At first, I thought it was excessive, but then I realized it wasn't about extravagance. It was about joy. Filipinos love to celebrate. They hold on to traditions because it brings people together. Families gather, neighbors share food, and communities light up with paroles, beautiful star-shaped lanterns that represent hope. Even if money is tight, people find a way to celebrate. That, to me, was shocking in the most heartwarming way. And then there are the fiestas. Almost every town in the Philippines has its own fiesta, rooted in centuries-old traditions. These festivals honor patron saints, celebrate bountiful harvests, or simply bring communities together. I was lucky enough to witness the Sinulog Festival in Cebu, a massive celebration filled with colorful costumes, dancing, parades, and music that made the streets vibrate. The energy was overwhelming, but in the best way. Everyone, from children to grandparents, joined in, their faces glowing with happiness. I also experienced the Ati-Atihan in Aklan, where locals painted their faces with soot and danced through the streets, drums echoing with every beat. It was wild, chaotic, and deeply spiritual at the same time. I realized something then. In the Philippines, joy is not reserved for the rich or the privileged. It is everyone's right. It is part of survival. The next big shock for me was food. Filipino cuisine doesn't always get the same global attention as Japanese sushi or Thai curry, but it deserves a spotlight of its own. At first, I was hesitant. Dishes like balut, a fertilized duck egg, sounded intimidating. But as I tried more, I discovered a world of flavors that told the story of the Philippines itself. Adobo, with its rich mix of soy sauce, vinegar, garlic, and bay leaves, became my comfort food. Every household has its own version, and each one feels like a hug. Sinigang, a sour tamarind soup, was unlike anything I had ever tasted. Refreshing, tangy, and perfect on a rainy day. Karaoke, with its peanut-based sauce, opened my eyes to how diverse Filipino flavors could be. And of course, lechon, the famous roasted pig with its crispy skin and tender meat, was the star of every celebration. What shocked me the most was not just the taste, but the culture around food. Meals here are not rushed. They are shared. In the West, eating often feels like a task, something to check off the list before moving on with the day. But in the Philippines, meals are moments. Families sit together, talk, laugh, and connect. Even in the humblest homes, food is shared with love. I cannot count how many times strangers invited me to eat with them, even when they didn't have much to give. That generosity humbled me. Filipinos also have a deep love for music. I thought karaoke was just a fun weekend activity, but here, it's almost a national pastime. Every celebration has a karaoke machine. Every neighborhood has someone singing, sometimes beautifully, sometimes off-key, but always with passion. And what shocked me is that no one judges. Singing here is not about perfection, it's about expression, about joy. I remember being dragged into singing one night at a family gathering. My voice cracked, I laughed nervously, but instead of embarrassment, I felt warmth. People clapped, laughed, and sang with me. That was another moment I realized how different life could be when people simply let go and enjoy. But beyond celebrations and food, there were deeper cultural shocks. One of them was family. In the West, independence is a goal. By 18, you are expected to leave home, build your own life, and move on with the day. But in the Philippines, family is the center of everything. It is common for 3 or even 4 generations to live under one roof. Grandparents take care of grandchildren, while children take care of their elders. There is no shame in staying with your family as an adult. In fact, it's celebrated. This closeness shocked me because it reminded me of something I didn't realize I had lost, a sense of belonging, of never being truly alone. In the Philippines, family extends beyond blood. Friends become family, neighbors become family. Even foreigners like me are embraced like one of their own. I remember visiting a small province in Iloilo. A family I had just met insisted I stay for dinner. They cooked a feast of fish, rice, and vegetables, laughing as they explained each dish. At the end of the night, they hugged me as if I had always been part of them. I left that home with tears in my eyes. In the West, we build walls. Our houses, our schedules, our lives. Here, they open their doors. Another big shock for me was the kindness of the people. As I moved around the Philippines, I was struck by how friendly and helpful people were. It wasn't just a smile or a polite nod. It was genuine warmth. The willingness to help a stranger was remarkable. From the helpers who went out of their way to make my stay comfortable to the locals who offered to show me hidden gems off the beaten path, the kindness was overwhelming. I remember struggling to fix my internet connection in a remote area. An elderly man heard me talking to myself in frustration and came to assist. Despite the language barrier, he spent hours trying to solve my problem. And when he couldn't, he walked me to the nearest restaurant.
Look at this beautiful
insisting
mango.
I use their Wi-Fi. These acts of kindness weren't rare. They were part of the everyday fabric of Filipino life. It made me reflect on how often we turn a blind eye to those in need in our own societies. As my journey continued, I discovered that the real shock lay not in the differences, but in the similarities. We may come from different worlds, but our needs, our dreams, and our emotions are universal. Whether it's the joy of a child, the love between a couple, or the bond of a community, these are shared experiences that transcend borders and cultures. Ultimately, the Philippines didn't just shock me, it taught me. It taught me about life, about humanity, and about myself. It showed me that happiness can be found in the simplest of things, that kindness is a universal language, and that home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more stories from around the world, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more updates. Your support means a lot and inspires me to keep sharing these incredible experiences. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery. And until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and always be open to the surprises that life has in store.